Yep, we're going to move to public hearings. We're going to open a public hearing on SB 241. Madam Counselor, please. And I would specify just, again, I'm not being impersonal with our good administrator. It's just that we have two Lauries sitting at the dais, and we're trying to avoid confusion. So, Madam Counselor,
for my
please.
sake.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, Senate Bill 241 requires a state agency to make a reasonable effort to ask if a customer or client is a veteran. It requires the Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs and the Oregon Military Department to provide contact information and materials to agencies for dissemination to individuals, requires the state agency to make a reasonable effort to disseminate that information from the departments, and it repeals the sunset of provisions requiring the agency to disseminate information to veterans. There is a -1. That -1 before you requires Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs and the Military Department to provide the contact information and materials to establishments operated to provide food to needy or indigent persons. It requires those establishments operated to provide food to needy or indigent persons to make the materials available and to make reasonable effort to identify the veteran. Should be in your packet, Mr. Chair, for 241 attached behind the bill. That would be the -1s. And then also there is reference there to the two executive orders that are part of the background materials.
You know,
Do you not have?
I do not have 241.
241.
There's
Everybody
a
wants to sort
packet.
through and make sure they have the, I know the esteemed Senate President has it electronically because he's flipping through here.
Yeah,
It's a hard copy as well. There you go.
yeah. If
Might
it's
have
on,
to help us all.
if it's on here,
It's on the S drive also,
Yeah.
but we also have hard copies here. So there's the amendment.
General Caldwell, Mr. Willis, if you would please, since this is an interim committee bill, which I'm assuming was coordinated with your agencies.
Amendment's right behind that.
Got it, I got the amendment right.
Okay.
And if you'd address the main bill, and then if you can advise us, where did the amendment come from?
From Senator Verger's office.
Okay, all right. And do we have someone from Senator Verger's office here?
Josh is here.
Josh, if you'd please come up and join the gentleman up here, since I'm going to assume this is a friendly amendment. If it doesn't, then the general will just have to sit with the enemy.
Don't bother me.
Whoever's going to lead off may lead off, but I don't want Josh leading, so he doesn't walk into an ambush. The two of you don't have that luxury.
Chair Boquist, members of the committee, for the record, I am Jim Willis, Director of the Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs. Former State Senator Martha Schrader originally drafted Senate Bill 241 while she was co-chair of the Legislative Task Force on Veterans Reintegration, and revives a concept that was discussed during the 2009 legislative session. In 2008, the Governor's Task Force on Veteran Services recognized that out of Oregon's 341,000 veterans, only about 80,000 were receiving veterans benefits from the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. However, those 80,000 veterans were receiving $1.2 billion in federal VA benefits each year. The task force believed that if the veterans in Oregon who were not in the system could be reached, they too might be eligible for benefits, bringing even more federal dollars to Oregon veterans and the communities in which they live. The task force final report recommended requiring all state agencies to ask their clients if they had served in the military in order to connect those clients with veterans benefits. In response to this recommendation, the Governor issued Executive Order 09-03, which required state agencies to ask their clients if they had served in the military, as well as add the question to all forms used by state agencies. Unfortunately, this order was not well received, and the Governor reissued Executive Order 09-09 to address agency concerns. The new order required certain agencies to work with ODVA on a veteran outreach, but eliminated the mandate to ask if clients were veterans or placed that question on state forms. While these executive orders were being issued, Representative Nathanson submitted House Bill 3104, which also directed agencies to work with ODVA on a veteran outreach. House Bill 3104 passed, and this interim, ODVA and its partners began that outreach. First, a link to ODVA was placed at the bottom of every state website. Thus, veterans visiting other state agencies could access ODVA and request information regarding their veteran benefits. Second, ODVA provided agency business return cards to display in their field offices where veterans could pick up a card, fill it out, and return it to ODVA requesting information about veterans' benefits. To date, ODVA has received 3,192 emails and 1,475 business return postcards from new veterans seeking benefits. While we are very pleased that we have received nearly 5,000 more veterans, the outreach has fallen far short of our goal of reaching the 250,000 Oregon veterans not receiving benefits. In examining why this outreach has not been as successful as anticipated, many of us have determined that it is because it is passive in nature. It requires the veteran to initiate the contact. As a lifelong veteran advocate, I can tell you that veterans often do not reach out to government on their own accord. Senate Bill 241 recognizes that a more proactive approach should be taken to engage Oregon's veteran population. By asking if a client served in the military, the various agencies can initiate the contact. If a veteran does identify themselves to the state worker, the veteran would be asked if they would be interested in learning more about their veterans' benefits and provided with a prepackaged set of materials for the veteran. We believe this will work significantly better than placing a poster on a wall with business return cards, hoping the veteran is curious on his own and takes a card and returns it. We understand the angst agency directors felt about the original Executive Order 09-09. However, I believe that we have seen how seamless it can work based upon the partnerships we've developed during the past 18 months. All the arguments from the last session hold true today. By identifying veterans, we can provide them with federal benefits, which in some cases will move them from state dependency to federal health care and compensation. I want to thank the committee for its consideration, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.